Stepfather insists his wife's 8-year-old should pay rent to teach him important lesson. When the stepfather shared his plans with the family, the mother was livid. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. The man's ways seemed completely crazy. And her 8-year-old son couldn't understand what he did wrong to be asked such a thing. He thought he was being punished for something. What was his stepfather thinking? Charlie Green was a normal 8-year-old boy who loved school and was always with a book in his hand. His friends loved him, and he was the pride of his mother. But when Charlie's father divorced his mother and stopped living with them, the boy started acting out. Even though his father was still in his life, Charlie didn't take the divorce well. And that would only be the beginning of his hardships. It took a while, but Mary found love again in a kind and attentive man who she met at her job as a waitress. He was charming and funny, and everything seemed great about him. They fell in love, and even Charlie seemed to like the man and enjoyed his presence in the house. Would this situation last, though? Or would it have a sad ending for the boy? It didn't take long before Marie's boyfriend proposed to her. It was a beautiful ceremony that marked the beginning of a beautiful family life together. It was magical. And while everyone was incredibly happy for the newlyweds, there was someone who didn't share their feeling. Marie had no idea what was coming. What followed was bliss. Marie was happy that she had found another man to love and was in heaven. Especially since her new husband had been involved in her son's life from the beginning. The man was doing his best to be a model stepfather, but Charlie didn't entirely accept him at first. Things would soon change for the entire family, though. A few months after the wedding, Marie's husband got laid off. He spiraled into a deep depression, and nothing seemed to make him feel better. Things were tough for the entire family, but his stepfather's mental state also took a toll on Charlie. Besides all that, the family began to struggle financially as well. Eventually, the husband found a new job, and things started to pick up for the family. Everyone was in a good mood. They even celebrated the new step in the family's journey at a nice restaurant. But Charlie still had trouble accepting the new man as his stepfather, no matter how much he tried to get along with the child and make him happy. Since things started to get better financially, the stepfather decided, along with Marie, to begin giving the 8-year-old an allowance. His stepfather set on $100 per month, and Charlie was the happiest. Of course, this meant he would need to help with the chores around the house more, but it didn't matter. He had his own money and could buy toys and video games. But when the stepfather offered Charlie an allowance, he had a hidden agenda behind the gesture. The boy couldn't believe it. He didn't know what he had done wrong. And the mother was left without words as well. She had no idea her husband had this in mind when he offered Charlie an allowance. What was going on? The stepfather explained he wanted to charge his 8-year-old stepson $20 a month in living expenses. Since the boy got $100 a month in allowance, that's where the money would come from. Charlie disagreed with this rule, but what could he do? He would risk losing his entire allowance if he protested too much. However, the stepfather wanted to charge the boy $20 a month for living expenses despite his mother's adverse reaction. This would still leave the boy $80. His mother thought there was something wrong with that. He was just a child, so his money should be his. The man intended to teach him about money management, which was very important to him. He didn't expect it to backfire like that. Then Marie asked, what would happen if he doesn't pay? Would you kick him out of the house? The question stumped the man. The woman was definitely against the measure. She believed that it was too young to deal with such responsibility, and it might affect him negatively in the future. The mother argued that telling an 8-year-old his basic needs weren't going to be met could cause a lot of problems. It could be a traumatic experience to be 8 years old and feel like your parents are not providing for you, that you are a burden to them and need to pay for your place in their lives and home. The boy's home should be his safe place. Money management was important, but this was not the best way to go about it. Eventually, the stepfather caved in and agreed to a compromise with the mother. They decided to secure the boy's financial future differently. The two parents opened a savings account for the boy instead, and they would just put a fixed amount every month for him to have when he grows older. And let Charlie keep his allowance untouched.